हरे कृष्णा। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय श्री गोपाल जय श्री गोपाल निताय गौरचंद्र निताय जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गौरा हरिबो हरिबो निताय गौर हरिबो। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण। Welcome all of you to today's Srimad Bhagavatam study. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, The Science of God, chapter 3rd. Chapter is entitled Hiranyakashipu plans to become immortal. Verse number 24. The verse goes as follows. सनिरीक्षाम्बरे देवं हंसवाहम् उपस्थितं ननाम शिरसा भूमौ तद्दर्शन महोत्सवः. Word to word translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sah, he, Hiranyakashipu, Niriksha, seeing, Ambare, in the sky, Devam, the supreme demigod, Hamsavahanam, Hamsavaham, who rides a swan airplane, Upasthitam, situated before him, Nanam, offered obeisances, Shirasa, with his head, Bhumau, on the ground, Tad Darshan, by seeing Lord Brahma, Maha Utsava, Mahotsava, very much pleased. Translation: seeing Lord Brahma present before him in the sky, carried by his swan airplane, Hiranyakashipu was extremely pleased. He immediately fell flat with his head on the ground and began to express his obligation to the Lord. Purport is as follows. So we are going to pause while we are reading the purport because it's a little bit long purport. Before that, we'll offer prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Purport is as follows. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, 23rd and 24th verse, Yepya anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhipurvakam aham hi sarvayajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvenataschavanti te. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. I am the only enjoyer and the only object of sacrifice. Those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. In effect, Krishna says, persons engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is indirectly offered to me. For example, when a man pours waters on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. So here Srila Prabhupada explains the basic tenet of Bhakti Yoga or devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. We see this has been one of the important themes of Srila Prabhupada's um, books, what he has given in his purports, and it is exclusive worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, knowing him to be the source of all the creation, Janmadyasyatah. From him everything emanates, it is maintained by him, and the world is destroyed by him. And To put it in a proper perspective, Srila Prabhupada again and again he is mentioning in his purports that we have to render exclusive, unmotivated, unalloyed devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead without any preconditions. And here he quotes from a shloka in Bhagavad Gita that even though we may try to offer our even though we may try to offer our worship and prayers to any demigods, any particular demigod we want to offer our prayer or worship, it has to be channeled in a proper way so as to reach the demigod whom we intend to serve or worship. And here the example mentioned is that man trying to water the tree or the leaves of a tree, leaves and branches of a tree, he has to um, properly understand the process of watering the tree. He has to put water on the root of the tree, and then the tree, its different parts, the leaves, the branches, the flowers, the twigs, every part of the tree is going to get nourished. And if someone doesn't do uh, like that, offering water on the root of a tree, then he is not having sufficient knowledge and he is not following the proper regulative principles of offering water to a tree. Similarly, if we want to offer a demigod our worship, then the root of all the demigods, all the great sages, is Lord Sri Krishna. And if we offer him our worship, then it automatically satisfied all the demigods also. So here, Srila Prabhupada explains further. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. So if you want to give nourishment to our hands, legs, head, then our heart, our different organs, brain, then we have to supply food to the stomach, not individually to each part of the uh, body. And then Srila Prabhupada goes on further. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. So the position of the demigods here is mentioned that they are different, like different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. And one has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. And that will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita as avidhi purvakam, like satisfying, trying to propitiate or satisfy different demigods without um, trying to satisfy Lord Sri Krishna or Sri Vishnu is like trying to bribe them in an illegal way, and that is called avidhi purvakam. That is not the recommended method. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. So, Srila Prabhupada is very emphatic. He doesn't care about what the society or people uh, may have opinion about what's being spoken. In fact, it's not Srila Prabhupada, it's Krishna himself. He is himself declaring in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita is revered and honored as one of the greatest philosophical treatises the mankind has ever known. And Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Lord Shri Krishna himself, um, in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he derides such indirect worship of demigods because it has its own flaws embedded in the process of worshipping a demigod directly without worshipping Lord Shri Krishna. 7th chapter explains Kamaistai Ritagyana, who worships the demigods. It's not that worship of demigods is not good. It is the intent of a person who is worshipping the demigod that makes it rather not recommended by the scriptures. They said, Kamaistaiste Ritagyana, those whose intelligence has been stolen by the lusty desires, by desires of selfish gratificatory pursuits. He indulges in serving the demigods. Prapadyante anya devata. And they approach different kinds of demigods. And Krishna again further tells, so how do we know which demigod should I worship? Krishna, he sits in each and every living entity's heart as the Paramatma or the Super Soul. And he guides the living entity's desires for the fulfillment of his desires. Um, when we say, I have a particular desire, that kind of demigod worship, the desire for worshipping a particular demigod arises accordingly in my heart. Yo yo yam yam tanu bhaktam shraddhaya architam arhati tasya tasya chalam shraddha. So Krishna gives that kind of faith to that person to worship a particular demigod. So it is said that we are all governed by the three modes of material nature: sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. Sattva means the mode of goodness, rajogun means the mode of passion, and tamogun, that is mode of ignorance. And according to the combination of modes which are influencing us, we are directed to a particular kind of demigod, um, or we develop a particular desire to serve and worship that demigod. Like it is said that people who are influenced by more of sattva guna, like they have a prominent mode as sattva guna, they may worship. If they have a pure mode of goodness, then they will worship Lord Vishnu, and that is not considered demigod worship because Vishnu is the root cause of all the demigods also. People who have sattva and rajoguna mixed, they are attracted to the worship of the sun god, because if I want to enjoy to the fullest, I want to enjoy my senses, then I need physical strength, I need mental strength, and I need sensual strength. So these are described in the scripture as Saha, Oja, and Bala. Saha means the strength of the pranas, Oja means the strength of the senses, and Bala means the strength of the physical bodily parts. These are required if we want to enjoy the life. And those who are inclined to enjoy in that particular way, they need to have good sound body, mind, senses. Their vital strength should be very firm, properly situated. So these kind of people, they will worship the sun god. People who are influenced by sattva and tamoguna mixed together, they worship the lord of the ganas, Gananayak, Ganapati. and they pray to him to remove obstacles on their path of sense gratification, on their path to enjoy this material world. Those who are influenced by predominantly tamoguna with some rajoguna, they will worship Durga Devi because she is the presiding personality of this material world, of this cosmic creation, which is referred to as Durga or a prison cell. And if we want to enjoy in this prison, we have to propitiate her because she is the superintendent of this material world. And those who are more of influenced by Tamoguna, they will worship Lord Shiva, Lord Rudra, because he is the uh, in charge of the mode of ignorance in this cosmic creation, and he takes care of people who are predominantly under the mode of tamoguna. Like we see people who may worship Lord Shiva. Many of them, they lead a very tamasic life. Like they will indulge in all kinds of they will like to reside in the crematoriums. They may have very unclean habits. They may indulge in intoxication. So Lord Shiva, in order to um, give these people some chance of leading a religious life and fulfilling their desires, he becomes their worshipable entity, and he provides them with their boons, with whatever they desire and whatever they deserve. So recently we have celebrated Shivaratri, and Shivaratri is considered to be one of the holy events on this planet Earth, because many of the worshippers of Lord Shiva, they try to satisfy him, please him with prayers, with different kinds of articles of worship. And Shiva's name, one of the names is Ashutosh. Ashutosh means one who gets pleased very easily. And we keep hearing again and again um, that worshipping demigods is like trying to satisfy some superior power and getting our desires fulfilled. Like if we go to mm, a big powerful personality and we pray to him, we glorify him and try to satisfy him, and he may he may fulfill our desires, but there is no love involved. That's what being said here. uh, when a person worships a demigod, there is no love involved. It's like a business, that because you are supposed to give us protection, you are supposed to give us with the articles of enjoyment, you are supposed to remove obstacles from our paths. That is the reason we are worshipping you. And once the reason, cause for worship is fulfilled, then um, you don't have anything to do with that personality. That is a selfish perspective. But when a person tries to worship Lord Sri Krishna, and in effect he satisfies all the demigods, he doesn't have any selfish intent in doing so. So that is the reason here demigod worship generally by Lord Sri Krishna is said to be avidhi purvakam. It's not proper. Uh, Further, Srila Prabhupada is describing in Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that there are many types of yajna performances recommended in the Vedic literatures, but actually all of them are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. So we hear from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, Yagyarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanat. We have to do work as sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. Yagyarthat karma means sacrifice, work done as sacrifice to Lord Vishnu. And if we don't act in such manner, if we don't do our activities as a offering, loving offering to Lord Vishnu, then there are implications. Lokoyam karma bandhanat. Otherwise, you will be implicated in karma bandhan, karma. We keep hearing the ghost of karma. People like to address it as the ghost of karma. Even we hear the terminology in Western or like Western people nowadays, even in so-called materialistic movies and serials, they address the term as ghost of karma. It's not actually the ghost; it's the ghost of our doings. Not to blame the rules of karma. So, if we don't act in a manner to satisfy Lord Vishnu, if we don't do our activities as an offering to Lord Vishnu, then we are implicating ourselves in the resultant reactions of our doings, and then we have to suffer because of that. If we want to be free from the cycle of action and reaction, then we have to render um, service to Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, as a sacrifice to him. Then only we have a chance to get out of the reaction of karma, out of the cycle of action and reaction. Otherwise, it is very difficult. We keep hearing for every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. That is the material dynamics, material laws of Newton. But there is a spiritual dimension, and if we understand that dimension, then we can escape the cycle of action and reaction. And this is the law of metaphysics. Physics is something we deal on a material platform, but metaphysics means something beyond matter, something beyond the laws of creation, laws of matter. So here, Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita gives us an opportunity to transcend the laws of matter by doing yajna. Yajna means offering without any expectation. That is called sacrifice. That's why it is called sacrifice. Sacrifice means it's not like cutting an animal and offering blood and flesh to the deity. Sacrifice means we sacrifice our intent to enjoy the fruit of the work. That is called sacrifice. And sacrifice, uh, yajna or sacrifice, the highest benefit of sacrifice is derived when it is done for the benefit, satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. And that's why Lord Vishnu's name, one of the names is Yajna, Yajnapati, Yajnesh. Um, Prabhupada goes on further in this purport. Yajna means Vishnu. In the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that one should work only for satisfying Yajna or Vishnu. The perfectional form of human civilization known as Varnashrama Dharma is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. So Varnashram Dharma, as we know, Krishna says, Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam. I have created this the social and spiritual order of the society, Varna Ashram system, which includes four Varnas, um, that is Brahman, Kshatriya, Brahman, Kshatriya, Graha, Vaishya and Shudra. These are four Varnas and ashrams, four spiritual divisions of society: Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanprastha, and Sannyas. So these four spiritual and social divisions of the society, they are made by Lord Sri Krishna. Arrangement is made in such a way that all the human civilization can attain perfection, and perfectional form of the Varnashram system is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. We hear from Srimad Bhagavatam again, um, not Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the scriptures. Varnashrama is specifically for satisfying Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am the supreme master. We hear Bhuktaram Yagya Tapasam. Lord Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, Bhuktaram Yagya. However, less intelligent persons, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefit. So, the fallacy of worshipping demigods for temporary benefits is one, it is motivated by selfish interest. Second, the benefit we derive is not permanent, it's not eternal. Even the demigods have a lifespan. We keep hearing from the Vedic literature that the demigods are amar, they are immortal. But immortal, the term immortality is not addressed to demigods. The demigods are not addressed as immortal because they don't die, because the duration of life in the heavens for the heavenly beings, the demigods, is very prolonged, very long duration of life they live in comparison to the human beings. So even the demigods, um, they are going to perish. So how can the benefits awarded by them could be eternal? So um, people worshipping demigods for temporary benefits, they are addressed as less intelligent people. And further, it is said, therefore they fall down to material existence and do not achieve the desired goal of life. So the desired goal of life is to attain devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, because he is the only person who can award us a liberation from the cycle of birth and death, from the whirlpool of this material existence, Bhavasagar, Bhavam Buddhi. So we are in a very precarious situation, though we may not acknowledge and try to understand it, but according to the perspective of the Vedas, of the scriptures, of the great spiritual personalities, all the living entities in this material world, they are in a place which is filled with miseries, dukkhalayam, and it is ashashvatam. Ashashvatam means it is going to perish. It's not going to last forever. We keep hearing in the stories and cinema storylines that the actor and the actress, the hero and the heroine, they finally made it together and they lived happily ever after. But it's a fantasy. It is not going to be happily living ever after unless both of them take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna and engage in pure devotional service. So this world has been acknowledged time and again in the scriptures as a place of misery and impermanence. Uh, and it is only Lord Sri Krishna who awards us um, the easy way to escape from this material world. But Lord Sri Krishna gives one concession also. Here it is said, if however anyone has any material desire to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired result. So, even though we may have material desires to be fulfilled, we need to go to a proper person and ask for it very humbly, and then we will achieve the desired result. So, here, if we contrast demigod worship with Lord Shri Krishna's devotional service, even though it may be motivated with some selfish intent, we see a difference. Demigod worship gives impermanent results, and it can not do ultimate good to the living entity. And how Lord Shri Krishna's service, even performed with a selfish motive, gives uh, it, gives a better position to the living entity. We hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many different examples, like Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj didn't have a pure motive initially when he set out to find out Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and satisfy him, and he wanted to occupy the position uh, of a great of the greatest personality in this universe, even better than the greatest personality in this universe. His great grandfather Lord Brahma has the topmost abode in this material world. It is called Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. And Dhruva Maharaj wanted to occupy a position greater than his great grandfather Lord Brahma. And it was not a pure spiritual desire for him to have. But as he progressed along his path, he was guided by a pure devotee of Lord Sri Krishna, Narad Muni, who became his spiritual master, his guru. And when Dhruva's um, sadhana, his practice of worshipping the Lord fructified, Lord Vishnu, in the form of Lord Narayan, he appeared in front of Dhruva Maharaj. And that time, by the presence of Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Vishnu, uh, Dhruva Maharaj's intent got purified. He said that, oh Lord, I was asking for something material. I was asking for broken pieces of glass. In fact, you are like a diamond, a very rare diamond, and I was looking after broken pieces of glass. I wanted to occupy the greatest position in this material world, greater than even my great grandfather, Lord Brahma. And that is considered to be a very paltry possession to have in front of the diamond I possess now in the form of you. So Dhruva Maharaj's heart got transformed, and so much so that his prayers and his devotional life has been glorified since time immemorial by greatest of all the spiritualists and all the great sages, and he has been favorite of the devotees of Lord Krishna while discussing about the glories of Krishna's devotees. So this is the big difference we see between the worshippers of demigods and worshippers of Lord Krishna, even though they may not have the purest intent. Srila Prabhupada goes further in this purport. Now we come to the context of this verse. Although Hiranyakashipu offered his obeisances unto Lord Brahma, he was strongly inimical toward Lord Vishnu. So Lord Brahma was being worshipped by Hiranyakashipu because even Hiranyakashipu had the same intent, like what Dhruva Maharaj had initially. Dhruva Maharaj wanted some material desire to be fulfilled. He wanted to become the greatest personality of this universe. And even Hiranyakashipu, he wants to occupy such a powerful position. He thinks that Lord Brahma, he is the greatest personality in this universe. So let me worship Lord Brahma and get his boons. Lord Brahma's lifespan is incalculable. Um, Dviparardhas means there are 17 zeros in front of 3. That is the minimum lifespan of Lord Brahma. That many years. That is called Dviparardha. That means it is like immortality for a human being. And Lord Brahma, Hiranyakashipu is thinking, I will become immortal like Lord Brahma. So he worships Lord Brahma with that intent. But here is a problem. He had strong enmity toward Lord Vishnu. And we'll see what is in store for Hiranyakashipu as we proceed during the discussion of next chapters in this canto. This is the symptom of an asura. Asura worship. Asuras worship the demigods as being separate from the Lord. So this is a very striking statement made by Srila Prabhupada. Asuras worship the demigods as being separate from the Lord, not knowing that all the demigods are powerful because of being servants of the Lord. So any demigod which awards any reward is doing so because he is getting the strength from the Supreme Lord. If the Supreme Lord were to withdraw the powers of the demigods would no longer be able to offer benedictions to their worshippers. So we experience these prayers by the demigods to Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear the famous story of Indra Garvaharan Leela, the lifting of Govardhan Hill by Lord Shri Krishna in the form of a little baby, little child, 5 years old. And after Indra realizes his mistake in not recognizing the supremacy of Lord Shri Krishna, he comes and offers very meek and humble prayers, acknowledging that, O Lord, you are the real uh, master of all the devatas also. So Indra coronates uh, Lord Krishna as the master of all the demigods. Similarly, we hear Lord Brahma offering prayers to Lord Krishna. Lord Brahma got bewildered. We have discussed we have heard the story of Brahma Vimohan Leela. He gets bewildered. How can such a small boy like Krishna he kill demon which is far beyond the capacity of being killed by the demigods? Aghasur, such a huge snake that even the heavenly beings were afraid and scared of Aghasur's atrocities, and they didn't have the guts to stand in front of him. So there are plenty of examples. Lord Shiva in his Rudra Gita prayers to Lord Krishna in fourth canto, he again offers the similar prayers that you are the supreme Lord. Lord Brahma himself in the prayers composed by by the name Brahma Samhita. After Lord Brahma had the spiritual realization, then he offered very beautiful prayers to Lord Govinda. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Even Lord Brahma himself worships Lord Govinda. So the demigods acknowledge the presence of Lord Krishna as their master, Lord Vishnu as their master. Whenever there is calamity and disturbance created in this material world beyond the capacity of the demigods to handle, then they will approach Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma takes them to the Shweta Dweep on the sides of the milk ocean, Kshira Sagar, where Lord Kshirodakshay Vishnu rests on his bedstead of Anantashesh. The purport goes on further. The difference between a demigod, a devotee, the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee or asura is that a devotee knows that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that everyone derives power from him. So, this is the difference between devotee and a non-devotee. They understand that all the powers uh, possessed by all the great personalities, even though they may or may not be demigods, all the great beings, they are dependent on Lord Vishnu for their existence and for their capabilities, for their powers. Without worshipping the demigods for particular powers, a devotee worships Lord Vishnu, knowing that if he desires a particular power, he can get that power while acting as Lord Vishnu's devotee. So when Dhruva Maharaj offered prayers to Lord Narayan, Prishni Garbha, then um, the Lord said that anyways, you have worshipped me with the intent of possessing a kingdom greater than your great grandfather. So I will give you the loka, which is called Shweta Dvipa, Dhruva Loka, which is never annihilated. It is like a spiritual world in this material existence. So he got the material benediction also, even though he didn't like to receive it, but it was ordered by Lord Krishna. Even Prahlad Maharaj, after his father Hiranyakashipu was killed, as we hear further, um, Prahlad Maharaj was benedicted by Lord Nrsimhadev. He said that you continue to rule the Asuras and you will enjoy fabulous material life, and you will have all the pleasures, material pleasures at your vacant call, and you will not be implicated in those material activities. That's the important thing. Nrsimhadev gave the benediction to Prahlad Maharaj by um, uh, enjoying the pious activities. You will exhaust your pious karma, you will exhaust your pious credits, and by suffering, if you may suffer in this material world, you will exhaust all your impious credits. So ultimately, you are going to get purified even by enjoying. So if someone hears like that, then he will be very hard. It will be a heartening news to hear for him. But it doesn't happen to all the people. Prahlad Maharaj was a great Mahajan, and if we see what he had to experience to preserve the spiritual consciousness which he possessed, it was incredible. And when Lord Nrsimhadev wants to acknowledge it, then it's up to him. But we hear that Lord Vishnu's devotee, if Lord Krishna desires, Lord Vishnu desires, then he can get any power. while acting as Lord Vishnu's devotee. We see there are great examples. Dhruva Maharaj, he ruled for thousands of years together uh, as a, as an unrivaled emperor of this earth, of this material creation. In fact, Priyavrata Maharaj, he ruled millions and billions of years. Yudhishthir Maharaj, he had the greatest of all opulences. So, if Lord desires, then a living entity can get a particular power, and if he accepts the power as the benediction and mercy of the Lord, and he uses it, he uses the power not to torment people, not to um, indulge in proclaiming how great he is. He utilizes the power for the welfare of all the living entities. Therefore, in the Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, third chapter, 10th verse, it is recommended Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desires, free from material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. So, Udaradhi means a person who has broader intelligence, who is broad minded. Broad minded person, he has thought about all the uh, options he has. He has thought about all the effects of what he is going to do. He understands all these things. And then, if he is even full of material desires, sarva kama, free from material desires, akama, or desiring liberation, moksha kama, he must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, he has to do Tivra Bhakti Yoga. He has to render Bhakti Yoga in a very focused and disciplined manner. Yajeta Purusham Param. Even if a person has material desires, instead of worshipping the demigods, he should pray to the Supreme Lord so that his connection with the Supreme Lord will be established and he will be saved from becoming a demon or a non-devotee. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya gives the following quotation from the Brahma Tarka. एकस्थानैक कार्यत्वात् विष्णु प्राधान्यतस्तथा जीवस्य तद अधीनत्वान् न भिन्नाधिकृतं वचः. Since Vishnu is the supreme, by worshipping Vishnu one can fulfill all one's desires. There is no need to divert one's attention to any demigod. So this is the end of the purport to the verse, 24th verse. स निरीक्षांबरे देवम हंसवाहम उपस्थितम ननाम शिरसा भूमौ तद दर्शन महोत्सव. So the setting is Hiranyakashipu is offering his pranams to Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma appears riding on his carrier, the Hamsa, the swan carrier. And Lord Brahma is accompanied by all the great Prajapatis, Daksha, great rishis, Narad Muni, all of them are there with him, all the demigods. And Hiranyakashipu, when he sees Lord Brahma, he is extremely pleased. He feels that, oh, I have worked so hard, I have meditated for thousands of years together, and now it is the perfection of my penance that my worshipable entity, Lord Brahma, has appeared before me. And Nanama Shirasa Bhumu, Hiranyakashipu fell flat with his head on the ground and offered prostrated obeisances. Tad Darshana Mahotsava. He was so very pleased by Lord Brahma's presence and appearance, and he expressed his obligation to the Lord. We hear Hiranyakashipu, he is inimical to Lord Vishnu, and he wants powers from Lord Brahma without acknowledging that um, the supremacy of Lord Vishnu, and that is the flaw in his thinking. And the result is that he is going to get punished and purified by um, the Supreme Lord in the form of his most incredible form as Lord Nrsimhadev. So Hiranyakashipu derives one of the reasons why Hiranyakashipu is named Hiranyakashipu is that he worshipped Brahma, Lord Brahma, who is sometimes addressed as Hiranyagarbha. He is the prominent entity in this, the most prominent entity in this shell of material universe, which is called Hiranya Garbha, the embryo of this material world. It's called Hiranyagarbha, and Lord Brahma is the prime entity in this material world. And because Hiranyakashipu worshipped Lord Brahma, he is called Hiranyakashipu. That is one of the meanings given. So Hiranyakashipu, we see how a demon also tries to please the demigods. We feel that a demon is someone who has big horns and sharp teeth, and he is the most abominable creature, and he may not have anything to do with the devatas. But many demons, we see the example of Ravan. He also worshipped Lord Shiva, and some people even glorify Ravana as a Shiva Bhakta. And people say that Ravana worshipped Lord Shiva, and he may have done some things which were not appreciable, not respectable, like he abducted other people's wives, he may have raped so many women, he cheated and despised his own brother Kuber. But yeah, after all, he was a devotee of Lord Shiva, so he should be respected. And people are writing books on this topic, that how Ravana, he did Shiva Tandav Nritya, and he offers such nice prayers to Lord Shiva, and he is respected for that. But this purport clearly explains that whoever one may be, if he is inimical to Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, and how he may lead his life in a so-called pious and religious way according to him. He may worship Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, if he may worship all the 33 crore devatas, even then it is not to his benefit. According to the rules of the scriptures, according to the um, guidelines laid down, if he is inimical to Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, then he has to suffer for that. Even though he may propitiate all the different powerful beings in this material universe. So Hiranyakashipu, when he tries to worship Lord Brahma, his intent is to become immortal like Lord Brahma. And he feels that I will take the position of Lord Brahma. That is again one of the fallacies of the demigod worshippers. They don't care about their worshipable object after their selfish motive is fulfilled. Like we hear the story of Vrikasur in 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vrikasur also worshipped Lord Shiva, but his and he worshipped Lord Shiva um, with a desire to have a very dreaded benediction, whom on whomever head on whomever's head Vrikasur will keep hand, that person will get burned to ashes. And Lord Shiva, as we know, he obliged and he gave the benediction to Vrikasur for the uh, austerities, very ghastly austerities Vrikasur was performing. He was offering his own flesh in the sacrificial fire to propitiate Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva waited and waited till the time Vrikasur went to the extent of cutting his own head and offering it in the fire sacrifice as offering to Lord Shiva. Then just to um, stop Vrikasur from engaging in such a dreaded ghastly activity, Lord Shiva appeared and he gave him the benediction. Okay, what do you want? And he said, okay, on whomever's head I keep my hand, that person should burn to ashes. And Lord Shiva says, okay, um, and Vrikasur starts running after Lord Shiva to test his benediction if it is true. So finally, Lord Krishna, in the form of a gentle Brahmana, he tricks Vrikasur in keeping his own hand on his head, and that's how Vrikasur gets burnt because of his own misdeeds. So even Lord Shiva's worshipper, though he wanted to have Lord Shiva destroyed because he wanted to enjoy his wife Parvati Devi. So how do the devotees engage with demigods? It is said that devotee is not disrespectful to any other living entity. What to speak of demigods who are appointed as administrators of the universe? So a devotee respects all the demigods, but he respects them for what they are. What they are means as the servants and order carriers of Lord Krishna, a devotee respects demigods. And we see in the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came as a devotee. He laid down the principles of how a devotee should lead his life. Devotee of Lord Krishna should lead his life. And when he went to his South India tour, he also visited different demigods temples. He went to Durga temple. He went to Lord Shiva Lingas for darshan, and he visited Skanda temple. So different temples he visited, but the perspective was that he was visiting them, taking their darshan, knowing that they are the appointed representatives of Lord Krishna, with some special powers invested in them to carry out the work given to them by Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu. And Lord Brahma puts in perspective how we should honor and respect the demigods as the devotees of Lord Krishna. In Brahma Samhita, um, usually five entities who are worshipped as demigods, five prominent entities are addressed how they are serving Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva is addressed as क्षीरं यथा दधि विकार विशेष योगात् संजायते नहि ततः पृथगस्ति हेतो यह शंभुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविंदमादि पुरुषं तमहं भजामि. So Lord Shiva is compared to yogurt. Lord Vishnu, Lord Govinda is considered to is compared to milk. So milk and yogurt, they are considered one and different at the same time. One in the sense yogurt comes from milk, yogurt is derived from milk. When there is some change, some chemical change in milk, it turns into yogurt. So when the mode of tamoguna uh, mixes with Lord Vishnu, then the resultant form created comes into the fore is Lord Rudra or Lord Shiva. So, but they are different in the sense that milk can be converted to yogurt, but yogurt doesn't turn back to milk. So, Lord Shiva is at the same time one and different from Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. Second demigod mentioned by Lord Brahma is himself. He says that as um, uh, jewel called Surya Mani, seventh of jewel, that jewel derives the effulgence and the power from the sun god, and that's how that jewel can illuminate and act in very powerful ways in this material world. Similarly, Lord Govinda, Lord Govinda invests some of his power in Lord Brahma, and that's how Lord Brahma creates this material universe. Bhaswan yathashma shakaleshu nijeshu teja sviyan kiyat prakatayatya brahmaya esha jagadanda vidhanakarta govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So we worship Lord Brahma as a servant, as the one empowered by Lord Krishna, Lord Govinda, to create this material universe. Then we worship Lord Ganesh. Yat pada vallava yugam vinidhaya kumbha dvandve pranam samay saganadhiraja vignan vihantu malamasya jagatrayasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. This verse explains that Lord Ganesh holds the lotus feet of Lord Govinda on his head, and that's how he derives the power to remove all the obstacles from the path of the people of this material world. I worship primeval Lord Govinda, who is the Adi Purush. So from him, Lord Ganesh derives the power to remove obstacles from the path of this material universe. Then about Durga Devi or Kali, Bhadrakali, whomever she is addressed as. It is said, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chaye Vayasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga Ichhanurupamapi Yasya Checheshtate Sa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Durga Devi is like a shadow of the potency of Lord Krishna, Lord Govinda, and according to his plan and his direction, all the Srishti, the creation, Sthiti, uh, all the universes are created, Palan, all the universes are maintained by his material energy, that is Durga Devi, and that is like a shadow of his spiritual energy. Then we worship Sun God as the eye of the Supreme Lord. Yet Chakshuresha Savita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samasta Suramurti Rashesha Teja Yasyadnaya Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this verse explains the existence of Sun God as the eye of Lord Govinda, who illuminates all the material world with unlimited amount of light and heat, and he rides on his chariot of the Kala Chakra according to the wishes of Lord Govinda. So this is how the devotees respect and honor the demigods. Um, it's not the mentality, it's not the fault of the demigods, it's the fault of the worshippers of the demigods in what, sorry, The intent of the worshipper of the demigod is more important than the worship of the demigod. Like we see, even devotees have worshipped. We see Katyayani Devi being worshipped. That is the Devi Mata being worshipped by the gopis with a desire to have Krishna as their husband. Lord Shiva is worshipped as the Kshetrapal, the Dham Rakshak, by the devotees of Lord Krishna, and he awards the greatest of all benedictions of entering the realm of spiritual abode of Lord Krishna by his mercy. And for that reason, he is honored, revered, and worshipped by devotees of Lord Krishna. So that's how we also have to have a respectful attitude for all the demigods and respect them for what they are and not according to our whims and fantasies and selfish intents and selfish motives. So that is the lesson from today's verse, which we can try to follow, emulate, and uh, benefit in our lives. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. हरे कृष्णा.